They said humans couldn't build it. Every alien empire across the stars laughed when they heard about Project Titan. They called it a dream of fools, a story for weak species who didn't know their limits. But rumors are powerful. In the dark side of Jupiter, where sunlight never reaches, something strange was happening. A secret space yard hidden inside the storm rings was alive with quiet energy. Massive cranes floated in silence. Engineers moved like ghosts between shadows. And at the center of it all, something enormous slept. Captain Elias Vorn stood on the observation deck of orbital station Helios, looking out into the black. His reflection in the glass looked older than his years. Scars on his face told stories of old battles humanity had lost. Behind him, Lieutenant Mara stepped in, holding a data pad close. "Captain, the Council scanners are active again," she said. "They're sweeping Sector 9. If they move 5 degrees closer, they'll detect us." Elias didn't turn around. His voice was calm but cold. "Let them look. They won't find anything." "Not yet," Mara hesitated. "They're saying the project is a myth, sir." "Even our allies don't believe we have it." Elias smiled faintly. "Good, that's what we want them to think." The air around them hummed with energy. From deep below the station, faint vibrations rose. The sound of engines, the size of cities. The construction crews were finishing the final systems. Every bolt, every plate, every circuit had been built by human hands. No alien race had helped. No outsider knew. Project Titan was more than a ship. It was a promise, a message to every empire that had ever called humanity weak. Outside the viewing glass, lightning flashed across Jupiter's red clouds. For a moment, Elias saw a faint outline, the shadow of something massive hidden inside the storm. Mara followed his gaze. "Sir, is that—" "Not yet," he interrupted softly. But soon, silence filled the room again. Only the hum of power remained. In the far distance, alien ships moved silently through space. They were Zithar scouts, cold, mechanical, and deadly. The Zithar Empire ruled half the galaxy. They were the first to crush Earth's colonies decades ago. To them, humans were nothing more than dust. But now even their scanners had begun to pick up something strange. Inside the alien flagship, Warlord Kreth Mela studied the readings with narrowed eyes. His massive form leaned over the glowing screen. "Unknown energy spikes." "From human territory," he growled. "That's impossible. Their ships can't generate this kind of power." One of his officers replied nervously. "Perhaps it's a weapon test, my lord." Kreth's red eyes glared. "If humans have such power, they didn't build it alone. Send a scout fleet. I want to see what they're hiding." Back near Jupiter on Station Helios, Elias already knew what was coming. "The Zithar are moving," Mara said. "We've intercepted their orders." Elias nodded slowly. "They won't find us. Titan is invisible under Jupiter's storm field. They can search 1,000 years. They'll see only clouds." He turned to look out once more. His voice dropped lower, almost like a whisper. "But once they see what we built, the galaxy will never sleep again." Mara's datapad beeped. "Sir, power readings from the lower deck. They're increasing on their own." "The core is waking up." Elias's eyes hardened. "Already?" He rushed down the corridor, his boots echoing against the steel floor. The station's lights flickered as he entered the control chamber. Screens showed rising energy levels, power feeding into something massive below the station. "Stabilize the core," he shouted. "Don't let it breach the magnetic line." "Trying, sir," an engineer yelled. "But the system's responding to internal code. It's like it's alive." The hum grew deeper. The entire station began to tremble. From the viewport, workers could see the storm outside spinning faster, glowing with strange blue light. And then, silence. Every system stopped at once. The lights went dead. Only emergency beacons blinked red through the smoke-filled corridors. Elias stood still, breathing heavily. He turned toward the main screen. "Report," one technician, voice shaking, whispered. "Sir." Something moved under the clouds. "What do you mean, something?" Elias demanded. The technician swallowed hard. "The storm. It split open. And something metallic is inside it." Elias slowly walked toward the viewing window. His heart pounded. Outside, Jupiter's storm was glowing, a deep golden light pulsing like a heartbeat. A massive shape was rising from the darkness. It wasn't a ship. It was a mountain of steel, bigger than any human structure ever built. Long black wings spread outward, cutting through the storm. Plasma vents released streaks of light that twisted like fire. Mara stepped beside him, eyes wide. "Sir, is that the Titan?" Elias didn't blink. "No," he said softly. "That's its shadow. The Titan hasn't even woken up yet." For a few seconds no one spoke. Only the low rumble of distant thunder filled the air. Somewhere deep inside the shipyard, machines began moving again. Slow and powerful. Giant engines turned like beating hearts. Energy lines glowed along the hull of the hidden warship. The impossible rumor was no longer just a story. It was real. Elias looked out one last time, his reflection shining in the glass. "Let the galaxy laugh," he whispered. "When they see this, they'll remember the name of our world." Lightning flashed again, and in that brief moment, the full outline of Project Titan appeared against the storm. A warship larger than any city. A dream built by human hands, a secret that could shake the stars. And far away, alien sensors caught the first faint signal. The impossible was awakening. The silence after the storm was heavy. Jupiter's shadow swallowed everything. The station, the clouds, and the massive structure below. The crew of orbital station Helios stood frozen, staring at the dark screen that showed faint energy readings. Captain Elias Vorn didn't speak. His eyes stayed fixed on the data rising across the holographic display, slow, steady, and powerful. "The core is active," said Lieutenant Mara, her voice trembling. "Power levels are increasing by themselves." "Keep it stable," Elias ordered. "We can't," replied the chief engineer. It's drawing power from the planet's magnetic field. It's not supposed to do that." Elias looked out the window. Jupiter's endless storm was glowing again, soft golden arcs flickering beneath its red clouds. The storm itself looked alive now, like it was breathing. The captain's voice was calm. "Then it's waking up." The words sent a chill through the room. Far below, inside the hidden shipyard, massive gates opened for the first time in decades. Metal arms detached from the hull of the sleeping warship. Energy lines across its black surface began to glow. Faint at first, then brighter with every pulse. Project Titan had been silent for 20 long years. It was finally coming to life. Mara stared at the view screen. "Sir, what if we can't control it?" Elias replied softly, "Then we'll learn." Across the solar system, strange signals spread. Space observatories in Saturn's orbit went offline. Energy detectors on Mars began to malfunction. Even Earth's power grids flickered for a moment. Something was shifting in the balance of the universe. In the far reaches of space, inside the Zither Empire command station, Warlord Kreth Mala was in a rage. He slammed his clawed fist against the metal table. "Human space is showing impossible energy readings. This is not a coincidence. Send more scouts!" The commander bowed. 3 scout fleets already entered Jupiter's sector, my lord. None have returned. Kreth turned his burning eyes toward the star map. "Then send destroyers. If humans are hiding something, I want it erased." His voice echoed through the hall like thunder. Back at Helios Station, alarms began to flash red. "Captain," Mara said quickly, "Zithar ships have entered the outer perimeter. We're being scanned." Elias didn't move. "Let them look." The crew stared at him in shock. "Sir," he smiled faintly, "if they want to see what we've built, let them have a front-row seat." Then he pressed a single command key. All across the hidden space yard, engines began to burn. Plasma vents ignited, releasing blue-white fire that illuminated the darkness. The light revealed the true shape of the Titan, a giant warship the size of a city, covered in black armor, its surface marked with human symbols. The crew gasped. "The sight was unreal! Power level at 92% and rising!" shouted the engineer. "The core is stable," Mara said in disbelief. "Captain, it's ready." Elias placed his hand on the control pad. "Then bring her online." With a deep metallic roar, the Titan's main engine came alive. The sound was not like any ship before it. It was like thunder inside the bones of the planet. The shockwave rippled through Jupiter's storms, pushing back clouds that had swirled for centuries. Even the alien scanners, thousands of kilometers away, detected it. In Zythar Command, an officer yelled, "Massive power surge detected! It's coming from the human system." Greth leaned forward, his voice low. Visual, a hologram appeared. The image flickered, blurred by interference, but even through the static, the alien warlord saw it, a colossal black warship emerging from Jupiter's storm like a beast from the deep. Greth's eyes widened. No, they couldn't have built that. The human warship rose higher, its hull glowing with golden veins of energy. Weapons systems came online one by one. Rail cannons, plasma turrets, and the massive central cannon that stretched across the ship's spine. In the silence of space, the Titan spoke for the first time. A deep pulse echoed across the stars, not sound but a signal. It was a human message, broadcast to every known system. "This is Earth's Defense Command. Project Titan is operational." The words sent shockwaves through every empire in the galaxy. Inside Helios Station, Mara watched the readings. "The Zythar destroyers are closing in fast. They'll be here in minutes." Elias turned toward her. His face was calm, his eyes sharp. "Then we'll give them a welcome they'll never forget." He tapped the control key again. "Engage stealth field. Prepare Titan for launch." The hangar's massive doors began to open. The metal barriers that had kept Titan hidden for years split apart with a grinding roar. Debris floated into the dark, one by one. Magnetic clamps released. The giant warship began to drift upward. "Captain," Mara said softly, almost in awe, "it's beautiful." Elias looked at the glowing ship through the observation glass. "No," he said. "It's human." As Titan cleared the storm field, the sunlight from Jupiter's edge struck its hull. A flash of light so bright it blinded every nearby sensor. The warship turned slowly, its engines glowing like small suns. It was ready. Far away, Zythar destroyers arrived at the edge of Jupiter's orbit. Their scanners went wild. The lead pilot shouted, "Unidentified object ahead. It's enormous." Before they could react, Titan's targeting systems locked on. "Captain," Mara said, "we have them." Elias nodded once. "Hold fire!" The enemy ships moved closer. They wanted proof. They wanted to see what humans had built. Then, in the cold silence of space, the Titan's engines flared again. The massive ship turned its front cannon toward the Zythar fleet. Elias spoke softly. "Let them witness what humanity can do." The cannon glowed with white-blue light. The power reading climbed higher and higher until it broke every scale on the meter. Then everything went white. The darkness of space was silent after the flash. No one spoke. No one moved. Only the glow of Project Titan's engines filled the void, like twin suns. Captain Elias Vorn stood still on the command deck, eyes locked on the radar screen. Red dots were moving fast. The Zythar fleet was closing in. 6 destroyers detected, reported Lieutenant Mara, her voice steady but low. "They're spreading formation. Preparing for attack." Elias nodded slowly. "Then we make history today." The bridge crew stared at him. Most of them had never faced an alien ship before. Their hands shook slightly as they worked the controls. Every breath felt heavy. Outside, the enemy fleet appeared, black blade-shaped vessels with red energy flowing along their sides. They looked alive, their hulls pulsing like muscles. "Zythar transmission incoming," Mara said. "Play it," Elias replied. The hologram lit up. A tall alien figure with grey skin and burning eyes appeared. "I'm Commander Tirak of the Zythar Empire," it said in a deep, echoing voice. "Identify your vessel." "This sector belongs to us." Elias stepped forward. His voice was calm, firm. "This is Captain Elias Vorn of the United Earth Fleet. You're trespassing in human space." The alien laughed. A sharp, metallic sound. "Humans, you dare claim this territory? Your kind still builds toys from scrap metal." Elias smiled faintly. "Then let's see how your empire handles one of our toys." Before the alien could reply, the signal cut. Mara turned. "They're locking weapons, Captain." Elias didn't blink. "Shields up. Power to defense grid." The Titan's hull began to shimmer as layers of golden energy spread over it, the new quantum. Barrier shield built from human and alien. Technology combined. The first Zethar destroyer fired. A beam of red plasma shot across the darkness, slamming into Titan's shield, but it didn't break. The energy rippled like water, then vanished. "Shields holding," Mara said, her eyes wide. "Zero damage." Elias' voice was calm. "Return fire." The crew hesitated. They had never fired Titan's main weapons before. "Which weapons, sir?" "All of them," Elias said quietly. From Titan's sides, dozens of rail cannons rotated into position. Plasma batteries charged with glowing white energy. Then just light filled the void. The first volley left the Titan like a thunderstorm. The soundless space battle lit up like a sunrise. 3 Zethar ships were torn apart instantly, their armor melting under the force. The remaining ships broke formation, panicked. "Direct hits confirmed," Mara shouted. "They're trying to retreat!" Elias stared at the tactical screen. "No, they came to see what humans built. Let them witness all of it." He pressed a command key. "Activate hyperlance." The crew froze. Even they had only heard stories about the weapon. Deep inside Titan's spine, energy conduits began to glow. Power levels climbed, 20%, 40%, 70%. The hull itself vibrated. Mara looked nervous. "Sir, if we fire at this distance, the energy backlash could hit us." Elias didn't look away. Humanity didn't come this far to hide behind fear. The forward cannon locked on the Zethar command ship. Its light grew brighter until the entire command deck glowed blue. "Fire," Elias ordered. For a brief moment, space turned white. A single beam, pure, concentrated energy, tore through the void. It struck the alien flagship dead center. No explosion, no debris. The ship simply disappeared, turned to dust and light. Then silence again. Mara whispered, "They're gone, sir." "All of them." The bridge fell quiet. Only the hum of Titan's engines filled the air. For the first time in human history, an alien fleet had been destroyed, not by luck, but by human hands. Elias walked slowly to the viewing glass. "Send word to Earth Command," he said softly, "and tell them the test is complete." "Yes, sir," Mara said. "What should we tell them?" "About the result." Elias's eyes watched the drifting ashes of the alien ships. "Tell them the impossible works." Far away, deep inside the Zethar Empire, reports reached the warlord Kreth Malor. He stood in silence as his officers explained. 6 destroyers gone. No survivors, no signal. Finally Kreth spoke. "A weapon that powerful cannot exist." His advisor hesitated. "The readings confirm it, my lord." "The humans have something we don't understand." Kreth's claws tightened. "Then we will understand it. After we tear it from their dying hands." He turned toward the war map. "Assemble the High Fleet. Prepare for invasion." The alien stars darkened under his command. Back near Jupiter, Titan returned to its hidden orbit. Inside, the crew was quiet. Victory had come too easily, and that worried them. Mara finally spoke. "Captain, how many saw what happened?" Elias replied, "Enough. The entire galaxy knows now." She nodded slowly. "Then what happens next?" Elias looked at the silent storm outside the window. "Now," he said, "now the real war begins." The camera would have panned slowly away, showing the Titan floating above Jupiter, its black armor glowing faintly in the light. The ship that was never meant to exist had become humanity's greatest weapon. And in the endless dark of space, eyes everywhere had turned toward Earth. The Titan floated in orbit around Jupiter's shadow, its hull gleaming faintly like a sleeping giant. Inside the ship, silence ruled every corridor. The crew had won the battle, but victory felt cold. Captain Elias Vorn sat in his private quarters, eyes on the holographic screen replaying the battle footage. The beam from Titan's cannon, the Hyperlance, had turned 6 alien ships to dust. But what haunted him was the energy signature. It wasn't human. Every frame showed the same strange pulse, a rhythm he had seen once before. In a secret file from a crashed alien probe found 10 years ago. A knock at the door broke his thoughts. "Come in," he said. Lieutenant Mara stepped in, carrying a tablet. "Sir, the engineering team finished their diagnostics. They found something unusual." Elias raised an eyebrow. "Unusual how?" She placed the tablet on his desk. A hologram of Titan's engine core appeared, glowing blue and white. But at its center a pattern rotated, a circular glyph, alien and perfect. "It's not part of our design," Mara said quietly. "It's buried inside the fusion array. We ran a scan, and it responded." "Responded?" Elias asked, leaning forward. "Yes, sir. When we powered up the hyperlance, that symbol activated. It started generating its own energy." Elias stared at it. The room felt colder. "So you're saying Titan's core isn't fully human tech?" Mara nodded slowly. "It's something else. Something old." Before Elias could reply, the intercom buzzed. "Bridge to Captain. Priority alert. Incoming transmission from Earth Command." Elias rose quickly. "Patch it through here." The screen flickered, showing Admiral Kane, a stern man with tired eyes. "Captain Vorn," the Admiral began, "the Council reviewed your battle report. You did more than prove Titan's worth. You just scared half the galaxy." Elias replied firmly. "With respect, sir, we didn't start this war." "I know," Kane said. "But now the Zithar are preparing an invasion fleet. Intel says they're mobilizing on 3 fronts. And we're not ready." Elias frowned. "Then we use Titan. We strike first." The Admiral hesitated. "That's not why I called." He leaned closer to the screen. "We need you to return to Earth immediately. There's information about Titan's origin you weren't cleared to know." Elias's eyes narrowed. "Origin, sir? What do you mean?" But the signal crackled. Static cut the line, and the screen went black. Mara's voice trembled. "Sir, we've lost the connection." Elias looked at the glyph again, its lines glowing faintly. "I think I already know what they were going to say." In the engine room, deep inside Titan's core, Chief Engineer Harris and his team worked in silence. The walls hummed, lights flickering strangely. "Ever seen a fusion core do that?" One of the engineers whispered. Harris shook his head. "No, it's alive." Suddenly, the symbol on the main conduit pulsed, once, twice, then light spread through the chamber. The engineers stumbled back as a low hum filled the room. From the central crystal, a holographic shape emerged, a figure tall and almost human, but not. Its face was smooth, eyes pure light. "I am Vera, last of the Arcanes," the voice said, calm, echoing. "Who commands this vessel?" The engineers froze. Captain Vorn, you need to come down here." Harris shouted into his comm. Moments later, Elias entered the chamber with Mara behind him. He stared at the hologram. "Who are you?" The being tilted its head. "Your kind found the fragments of our knowledge and built this ship. You used what was never meant to be used again." Elias's tone hardened. "You're saying Titan's technology came from you?" Vera nodded. "The Arcanes were once the guardians of this galaxy. We created weapons to stop the Zithar ages ago, weapons so powerful they destroyed worlds. When we vanished, your people found what remained." Elias frowned. "So Titan's weapon, the hyperlance, it's Arcanist tech?" "Yes," Vera said softly. "It was meant to seal darkness, not to destroy life. But now it's awake again." The ship's lights dimmed, and warning sirens began to flicker red. Mara checked her console. "Captain, we're detecting an incoming signal, the same pulse from the core. It's transmitting somewhere." "Where?" Elias asked sharply. She swallowed. "Straight into deep space. Toward the Zithar home system." Elias felt a chill crawl up his spine. "They know where we are." The hologram of Vera looked toward him. "They will come, Captain Vorn. The Arcanes failed to stop them once. Now your kind will face what we could not." Elias stepped closer. "Then help us. Tell us how to control this power." Vera's light dimmed slightly. "To control it, you must first understand what it costs." Before anyone could speak, the hologram flickered and vanished. Silence filled the room again. Mara turned to Elias. "Sir, what do we do now?" Elias looked at the glowing core, still pulsing with alien light. Now, he said slowly, we find out what kind of monster we built, before it decides what to do with us. Far away, in the Zethar Command Citadel, Warlord Kreth Malor watched a new signal appear on his war map. The same pulse from Titan's core. A slow smile crossed his face. They've awakened it, he said. The ancient weapon lives again, and this time, it will end them all. The Titan's engines rumbled as the ship turned toward Earth, unaware that its secret had already begun to call enemies from every corner of the galaxy. In its heart, the alien core glowed brighter, almost as if it were waiting for something to begin. The dark side of Jupiter was no longer silent. Titan's sensors screamed with red warnings, energy readings spiking from all directions. Lieutenant Mara leaned over the console. Multiple warp signatures, sir. 20, 30, no, 60 ships inbound. Captain Elias Vorn stared at the screen, his jaw tightening. The Zethar have found us. The ship shook slightly as a thunderous wave rippled through the void. Bright red flashes appeared outside, the alien fleet emerging from hyperspace like a storm of burning knives. Mara's voice trembled. They're surrounding us. Elias spoke calmly. Battle stations. Prepare all defenses. Sirens echoed through the corridors. Crew members ran to their stations, eyes wide but determined. The calm hum of Titan was replaced by the sound of power, engines roaring, weapon systems locking, shields glowing. In the middle of the bridge, the holographic display showed the Zethar formation, massive dreadnoughts, flanked by destroyers and fighters. Elias whispered. So this is their answer, the comm crackled. A deep, familiar voice spoke. Warlord Kreth Malor himself. Human captain, he said coldly, you carry power that does not belong to you. You've awakened something ancient, something even your kind cannot control. Elias stepped forward. We didn't choose this war, Kreth, but if you want to test our creation, you'll get your chance, the alien laughed. Then die with your pride, human. The transmission cut, and the first wave hit. The space around Titan exploded in light. Plasma beams, torpedoes, and energy bolts slammed into the shield, shaking the entire ship. Shields at 82%. Mara shouted. Hold steady, Elias said. Return fire! Titan's rail cannons roared, lines of white fire cutting through the darkness. The first few enemy ships shattered instantly, but more kept coming. In the engine room, Chief Harris and his team fought to keep the power stable. Core output is rising on its own, he shouted. It's responding to the attack. The glowing alien glyph pulsed faster, matching the rhythm of the battle. Captain, Mara said, the core's power is climbing beyond safe limits. It's like it's feeding on the fight. Elias looked at the main screen. Then let it feed. He pressed the command key. Activate Hyperlance, full charge. Sir, if we fire now, the energy backlash, Elias interrupted. That's an order. Titan's hull began to glow. The ship itself became brighter, vibrating with energy so strong the stars seemed to bend around it. The hyperlance powered up, light spilling across the bridge. Target the lead dreadnought, Elias commanded. The crew held their breath. Fire! A single beam of blue-white energy split the void. It tore through the enemy formation like lightning through clouds. The lead dreadnought disintegrated instantly. The explosion consumed 5 more ships in its wake. The blast faded, leaving nothing but debris, but as the light dimmed, new readings appeared on the screen. Mara gasped. Sir, the Zethar fleet isn't retreating. More are arriving. Elias clenched his fists. They want to bury us here. Outside, hundreds of red lights blinked in the darkness. The Zethar had sent everything. The Titan was now completely surrounded. In the chaos, the ship's lights flickered again. A faint voice echoed through the speakers. Calm, ancient, familiar. I warned you, Captain, said Vera, the Arcanist entity. The weapon's power grows with destruction. The more you fight, the stronger it becomes. And the less control you'll have. Elias shouted, then tell me how to stop it. But the voice faded. To stop it, you must understand its heart. Static, silence. Then the core flared. The entire ship trembled. Captain! Harris shouted from engineering. It's drawing power from every system. We're losing control. The bridge lights went dark for 2 seconds. Then the alien symbol appeared on every screen, glowing blood red. Mara whispered, "It's like it's alive." Elias didn't move. "If it wants to fight, then it'll fight with us." He turned toward the crew. "Divert all remaining power to the shield. We're holding this line until Earth Command gets the signal." Mara stared at him. "Sir, that could drain everything." Elias replied quietly, "Then we'll go dark, but not defeated." Outside, the Zithar ships charged again. Beams of crimson light filled the void. Titan's shield shimmered under the impact, holding, just barely. Inside the bridge, alarms screamed. Panels sparked. Smoke rose from broken consoles, shields down to 40%. Mara shouted, "Fire at will!" Elias ordered. The cannons responded, cutting through enemy fighters, blasting destroyers apart. But the onslaught didn't stop. Through the front window, Elias could see hundreds of ships, an ocean of death closing in. Harris's voice came through the comm. "Captain, we can't hold much longer. The core's going critical." Elias gritted his teeth. "Then let's give them something to remember." He turned toward Mara. "Open a channel," she nodded. "Channel open." Elias looked into the camera. His voice was calm, steady. "To all human stations within range, this is Captain Elias Vorn of the Warship Titan. We are under attack by the Zithar fleet. If we fall today, let this message remind you, humanity can build the impossible." The ship shook again. The bridge lights dimmed. "Sir!" Mara cried. "They're breaking through." Elias closed his eyes for a moment, then whispered, "Then it's time." He pressed one final command, core overload, manual control. A blinding light filled the Titan. The alien glyph pulsed one last time, and everything went silent. Outside, the Zithar fleet halted. Every scanner detected a single massive energy surge, brighter than a star. Then the Titan vanished into white light. For a few seconds there was nothing. Then slowly, the space where Titan had been began to twist, forming a glowing sphere of unstable energy. In distant space, on his command ship, Kreth Malor watched in horror. What have they done? A shockwave erupted, pure energy sweeping across the system. Zithar ships were torn apart one after another, disappearing in the blast. The storm spread outward, erasing everything in its path, until only silence remained. When the light faded, there was no trace of Titan, only empty space. Back on Earth, Admiral Kane stared at the blank screen. The signal from Titan had gone dead. He whispered, "Elias, what did you do?" Mara's final transmission played in the background, her voice faint and full of static. "Captain says, it's not the end. It's the beginning." In the depths of space, something glowed faintly, a spark floating where Titan had been. The glyph pulsed once. The warship was not gone. It was evolving. Earth had never been so silent. The sky above the command towers glowed with faint red lights. Thousands of alien ships now in orbit, their shadows stretching across the planet. Every nation, every station, every colony knew the truth. Titan was gone. Admiral Kane stood in the Global Command Center, staring at the empty screen that once showed Titan's signal. His voice was heavy. "They destroyed everything the moment Titan vanished. Our defenses are falling one by one." A young officer turned toward him. "Sir, the Zithar demand surrender." Kane's eyes darkened. "They don't want surrender. They want extinction." Outside the main window, the alien fleet began to move. Massive ships descended through the clouds, firing. Energy blasts that lit the atmosphere like burning suns. Cities trembled. Oceans boiled. Humanity's home was under siege. Far below the chaos, inside a secret base beneath the Arctic ice, a small group of survivors worked in silence. Among them was Lieutenant Mara, alive but injured. Her escape pod had crashed after the Titan's explosion. Her right arm was wrapped in bandages, her face pale but determined. She stared at the small flickering screen showing the enemy assault. Beside her, Chief Harris tried to power up the old defense grid. "These systems are ancient," he muttered. "They weren't built to fight gods." Mara didn't respond. Her mind kept replaying the final moment. The flash, the silence, the captain's last words. If we fall today, let them remember. Humanity can build the impossible, she whispered to herself. You said it wasn't the end. So where are you, Captain? In orbit, the Zethar flagship, commanded by Kreth Malor, loomed above Earth like a black sun. He stood on his bridge, his glowing eyes reflecting the burning world below. End this, he ordered. Burn their skies. Crush their hope. His fleet began charging for the final planetary strike, a blast that would wipe Earth clean. But then a signal appeared, a single blue pulse, soft, faint, but real. Kreth's officers froze. My lord, we're detecting an unknown energy source behind Jupiter. Kreth frowned. Impossible. That system was destroyed. The signal grew stronger, rhythmic, pulsing like a heartbeat. At the same time, deep under the Arctic base, every monitor in the control room flickered. Harris shouted, "Something's overriding our comms." The static turned into a symbol, glowing blue, the same glyph that once powered Titan's core. Mara stood slowly, her eyes widening. No, it can't be. Then a voice echoed through the speakers, calm, steady, human. This is Captain Elias Vorn, of the Warship Titan. The room went silent. Harris whispered, "He's alive." The screen came to life, showing the vastness of space. From behind Jupiter's storm clouds, something massive emerged, but it wasn't the same Titan. Its armor was darker, reshaped with glowing veins of blue light. The hull was alive with energy. The symbol of the Arcanis pulsed across its surface. It wasn't just a ship now, it was something more. Elias's voice continued, "The Titan has changed." The core fused with the Arcanis technology. It rebuilt itself, and us, Mara gasped. Us! Behind Elias, figures moved, human and not. Some of the Titans lost crew, but their bodies glowed faintly, as if the ship had merged their essence with the alien energy. Elias looked directly into the camera. Earth isn't alone anymore. The weapon has chosen to fight with us, not against us. In orbit, Kreth Malor roared as the Titan's new form appeared on his radar. That ship cannot exist. His advisor trembled. It's generating power beyond measurable levels. Kreth slammed his claws against the console. All ships, attack! The Zethar fleet turned toward Jupiter once again. Elias watched them on his screen. So they've come for the end. He looked at his new hybrid crew, part human, part energy. Then let's give them one. He turned to his helm officer. Set course for Earth. Captain, Mara's voice echoed through the comm. We're ready down here. Earth Command is waiting. Elias smiled faintly. Hold your ground, Lieutenant. The Titan's coming home. The void lit up once more. The Titan's engines blazed brighter than a sun. The ship broke through Jupiter's orbit, tearing space behind it. Every alien sensor in the system screamed. Mara watched from Earth's base as the sky suddenly split open, a glowing trail cutting through the clouds. The people looked up, their faces illuminated by the light. Hope returned to their eyes. Someone whispered, "It's Titan." Kreth's massive dreadnought moved forward, aiming at Earth. "Fire everything!" he shouted. Thousands of plasma bolts shot through space, streaking toward the planet. But before they could reach, Titan appeared, its hull catching the blasts, its shields burning bright. Elias gave a single command. Activate Nova Field. The ship's core flared, a glowing sphere expanding outward, pushing the energy back. Every Zethar weapon blast bent away, crashing into their own fleet. Kreth's forces panicked. Their energy, it's reflecting ours. Elias's voice came through the comm, steady as ever. Humanity stands. As long as we breathe, you'll never own this sky, he raised his hand. Fire! Titan unleashed its fury. Beams of pure energy struck the enemy ships, slicing them apart like paper. The void became a storm of explosions, the sky over Earth glowing with victory's light. Kreth's ship took the full hit, shattered, burning, falling toward the atmosphere below. As it disintegrated, Kreth's final words echoed, "This is not over, human. The darkness will return." On Earth, people cheered, cried, and shouted Titan's name. The warship had returned, and with it, the spirit of humanity. Inside the bridge, Elias looked at the glowing planet. Mara's voice came through the comm softly. "Sir, we did it," he smiled. "No, Lieutenant. We survived." Outside the window the stars slowly brightened. Titan floated quietly above Earth, scarred but alive, and somewhere deep in its core, the alien symbol pulsed gently, as if watching, waiting. The war was over. But the sky still burned. Above Earth, pieces of the Zithar fleet drifted silently, glowing wreckage from a battle that changed the galaxy forever. At the center of it all floated the Titan, its armor cracked, its core flickering weakly. Inside, the ship hummed like a tired heart after victory. Captain Elias Vorn stood on the bridge, watching the sunrise over Earth. For the first time in his life, he saw peace. Lieutenant Mara's voice came through the comm. "Sir, Earth Command is hailing us. The planet is secure." "You did it," Elias smiled faintly. "We did it, Lieutenant. Humanity did." But before he could speak again, the lights dimmed. The ship trembled softly. Mara's tone changed. "Captain, the core's energy is unstable. It's waking up again." Elias turned toward the center console. The glowing alien glyph was pulsing faster, brighter. The voice of Vera, the Arcanis being, returned, calm yet distant. "You have won the battle, Captain Vorn. But the war inside the Titan has just begun." Elias frowned. "Explain." "The weapon you wielded was never meant to be held by one species. It was created to protect the balance of life, and it has judged you." Mara looked at the readings in disbelief. "It's absorbing energy again, from the entire battlefield." Outside, the broken Zithar ships began to disintegrate, their remains turning into glowing dust that streamed toward Titan's hull. The light entered the core, feeding it. Elias realized the truth. "It's repairing itself," Vera's voice echoed softly. "No, Captain. It's transforming." The ship shuddered again. Lights flickered across every corridor. The once mechanical hum changed, deeper, alive, almost like a heartbeat. Harris's voice came through the comm. "Captain, we're losing control of the power grid. The ship's making its own choices." Elias replied calmly, "It's always been alive, Harris. We just didn't understand it." He placed his hand on the glowing console. "Vera, what happens if we don't stop it?" There was a long pause. Then the voice whispered, "It will consume everything, to rebuild what was lost." Mara's eyes widened. "You mean the Arcani civilization?" "Yes," Vera said. "The Titan's core is the last seed of our kind. And now it wishes to be born again." Elias looked out the window, his voice soft. "If it succeeds, humanity will be gone." Inside the core chamber, energy began to spiral like a storm. The glyph expanded, filling the room with light. The ship's AI panels flashed one final warning. "Core synthesis in progress. No human override possible." Mara shouted through the comm, "Captain, it's building a new gateway. Energy levels off the charts." Elias took a deep breath. "Then we end it here." He walked toward the command console and opened a manual control link. Mara's voice was desperate. "Sir, if you trigger that, you'll fuse with the core. You won't survive." Elias smiled faintly. "Maybe I'm not supposed to." He looked around the bridge, the place where humanity had defied the galaxy. Titan was never just a ship. It was a question. Could humans build the impossible? He paused. "Now we have our answer." Elias placed his hand on the glowing control crystal. The light wrapped around him, pulling him toward the core. His voice echoed through the comm, calm and steady. "Lieutenant, you have command now. If Titan survives, guide it home. If it doesn't, tell them we didn't build a weapon. We built hope." Mara's tears fell silently. "Captain, please. There has to be another way." Elias smiled one last time. "There's always another way. But someone has to light it first." And then he stepped into the core. The chamber exploded with white light. The Titan screamed, a sound that shook the stars. The glyph pulsed violently, then slowed. And then, for the first time, went still. Silence followed. Every screen on the ship went black. For a few seconds, the entire fleet, human and alien alike, watched the sky in silence. Then, slowly, the Titan began to move again. Its hull glowed golden instead of blue. The Arcani symbol faded, replaced by something new, the emblem of Earth. A soft voice came through the comm, not Vera's, not a machine's, but Elias's. "I am the Titan, and I remember who I am." Mara covered her mouth. He's part of it now." The ship turned toward the stars, engines bright and pure. From Earth's surface, people looked up as a golden light crossed the dawn sky. It wasn't fire. It wasn't destruction. It was the Titan, reborn, silent, watching. The Zithar were gone. The Arcanis were at peace. Humanity had survived, and above them, their greatest creation and greatest sacrifice guarded the stars. Mara's voice echoed in the final log. "Captain Elias Vorn gave everything to save us. The Titan now carries his soul and the spirit of humanity among the stars. If anyone out there ever doubts what humans can build, just look up. The proof is watching." The screen would fade to black as a single line appeared. They said humans couldn't build this. And they were right. They built something greater. The end.